Hello, hello, hello. Those of you over there on Facebook land, those of you here in Clubhouse, hello, hello. Good evening, good evening, good evening. And to those of you over on YouTube, welcome, welcome, welcome. It's so good to see you all. This class, guys, is a very quick master class. The class is designed to give you the tools and the tips that the professional speakers use every day in their profession. Those speakers could be the commentators for your favorite sporting events. It could be the weatherman, or perhaps the newscasters on your favorite news station, CNN, MSNBC. Or it could be those professional motivational speakers that you love. I'm giving you the stuff that they use for free here in this master class. So stay with us, guys. And then you will have an opportunity towards the end to find out how you can practice using these tools and tips. For those of you here over on Facebook and YouTube, you can see the screen. Those of you over on Clubhouse, I'm going to share everything just as vividly as possible so that you too can understand what they're seeing over here on the screen. Before we begin, I want to encourage you to grab a piece of paper so that you can jot down a few notes. And on that piece of paper, I want you to write down, what do you think joy means to you? What does joy mean to you? And how does that relate to confidence? What does joy mean to you? And how does that relate to confidence? Go ahead, write it down. Write it down on your piece of paper. What does joy, J.O.Y, mean to you? And how does that relate to confidence? And we'll talk about that as we go along. But it's important for you to capture what you think it means before we get into what God has showed me, joy and confidence, what joy means and how it relates to confidence. Good evening, Pastor Craig. Good to see you. Hello, Cara. Good to see you. And Tanisha, nice to see you as well. Good to meet you all. Let's go ahead and give you the agenda for today. Again, this is going to be a quick, now we're down to 25 minutes. The tips and tools that the professionals use. I'm going to go over the history and the purpose of joy. And then we're going to talk about the tips and tricks of how to speak with joy, J-O-Y, and then the tips and tricks of how to speak with confidence. And then I'm going to give you the next steps of what you can do in order to put these tips and tricks into action. Because it's not just getting the information, you got to practice it as well. So here we go. The history and purpose of joy. The joy of the Lord is your strength. That's Nehemiah 8:10. And what God gave me several years ago, back in 2009, is that it is not just knowing what joy is. It's about obtaining that true joy for ourselves and then sustaining that joy. So once you get it, once you understand what joy really means, then you got to sustain it. And for those of you who don't know, JOY is an acronym that stands for Jesus, others, and you. And every morning in our morning joy room here on Clubhouse, Facebook, and YouTube at 6 a.m. Monday through Friday, we encourage one another to write out our joy plan, because that's what we believe will keep that true joy in our hearts, regardless of what we may be going through and what we may be experiencing. Yeah. We may not be happy about a lot of things, but we can still have joy when we follow the plan. The J stands for Jesus. And every day we encourage people to write down the specific activities that they're going to do to strengthen their relationship with Jesus. The O stands for others. And every day, every morning, we encourage people to write down what they're going to do to bless and encourage other people. And then the Y stands for you. Yeah, this is that self-care piece. This is that self-care piece where we have to encourage ourselves to love on ourselves. Every day, we encourage our listeners to write down at least one thing that they are going to do for themselves. That's the J.O.Y plan. And if you work the plan, not only will you obtain true joy, but that's how you sustain. That's how you can keep it going, by doing that every day. So with that in mind, we're going to jump right into speaking with joy. And just like I just broke it down on how to obtain and sustain joy, we're going to break down the speaking with joy in the same fashion with the J, the O, the Y. The first letter, J, Jesus. We have to let the light shine. And what is that light? That's the Jesus that's within us. So we've got to have a relationship with Jesus so that we can let it shine. When you have an opportunity, read Matthew chapter 5, verses 13 and 14. And that's where it tells us that we are to be the salt of the world. We are to let the light shine. Let the light shine is the first thing in the J. And then the salt is the second thing. We add flavor to any atmosphere that we're in. So when we're speaking, that's what needs to resonate from us when we're speaking with joy. That Jesus joy, it just shines off of us like a light. It adds flavor to the atmosphere. And the third thing, it changes the climate. We are to be the thermostat as opposed to the thermometer. When you see people speaking and you're like, wow, they're so impactful, more than likely, they are shining that light. They're coming from a place of compassion. They're being the salt. They're coming from a place of wanting to impact their listeners. They're being the thermometer. They're being the thermostat. They're changing the climate. That's the J. The O in speaking with joy is making sure that the person that is listening to you, the person that's in the audience, can follow what you're saying. So the O has to do with the structure of your speech, the structure of your talk, the structure of your response. And this is where I kind of get a little pushback sometimes when I'm sharing with others that even when you're responding to a question, especially in an interview setting, you've got to respond in a way in which there's structure. Who wants to listen to someone that's all over the place and the listener is having to put together or piece together the information that you're sharing? Individuals that are amazing at interview questions, especially impromptu questions, they have a structure. And here is the structure. There is an opening that grabs the listener's attention. That's the beginning. The middle flows like a speech, meaning that you have supporting topics to that beginning that grab the listener's attention. And then the ending is so clear that everyone that's listening to you have no doubt that you're finished speaking. That's a structure. The O in speaking with joy, you're focused on the listener and how they're receiving what you're saying. And the reason why you're focused on that is so that they can understand or follow your train of thought. Also, with the O in speaking with joy, you want to be enthusiastic. You want to be enthusiastic because guess what? No one wants to listen to someone that's saying, wah, 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 wah. Anybody remember what that cartoon was off of? Yeah, Charlie Brown. The teacher for Charlie Brown said, wah, wah, wah. When you're speaking with joy, as a part of the O for others, you want the listener to be just as excited about what you're talking about as you are. So you have to speak with enthusiasm. You also need to have eye contact. Definitely, if you're in person, it's important to look at the audience. It's important to look at the person that's asking you a question or the interviewer, because they want to feel like you're talking to them. In the virtual setting, eye contact is you looking at the camera on your computer. Because when you're looking at the camera, the person that's receiving or the person that's listening to you sees your eyes looking at them, as opposed to looking at the screen. And oftentimes that's what we do when we're in the virtual world. Our eyes tend to focus on our screen or looking at the other people. If you're in a Zoom or in a StreamYard or in a Teams meeting, you tend to look at the people as opposed to looking at the camera. But if you're doing eye contact, you're thinking about the other person, you're thinking about the listener, you're looking at the camera. Also, speaking with joy, you got to make sure that your tone and volume match what you're talking about. If you're talking about something sad, then you shouldn't sound like you're happy, and vice versa. If you're talking about something happy, you shouldn't sound like the teacher from the Peanuts cartoon. Wah, 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 wah. Again, it's all about speaking with joy, the O for others. You want to have your response structured, have a clear beginning, a middle that flows like a speech, and an ending that's also clear. Enthusiasm, eye contact, making sure your tone and volume match, and then your grammar or language should be appropriate. The Y in speaking with joy is pretty intuitive. You need to make sure that you are comfortable when you're standing on stage or when you're presenting or speaking or delivering the word of God. The Y stands for you. You must take care of you. So that may mean to dress comfortably. Now, some people, ladies, can walk around a stage with 20-inch heels and it be comfortable for them. I don't know how, but it could possibly be comfortable for them. Me personally, if I want to wear heels, I'm going to wear a wedged heel when I have to spend 45 minutes to an hour delivering a keynote message. I need to make sure that I am comfortable. And two, I need to make sure that I'm not going to fall and crack my hind parts because I'm trying to be cute. So you need to dress comfortably. That's the why. You need to just be you, your style. For those of you over on Facebook and YouTube, you see a picture of the young lady and she has on a shirt with ruffle sleeves and a mini skirt that has this like silver stuff. Those of you over on Clubhouse, it has this silver stuff under it, and she has on tights and some slouch down boots. Now, that's not my style. By no means. But I put that picture there for you to know that it's okay. She's in the picture, guys, pointing to herself because she is comfortable being who she is. So that is the why in the Speaking with Joy, the J-O-Y. So just to recap, Speaking with Joy, the J. Speaking with Joy, the J is all about letting your light shine, being the salt and the thermostat in any room that you're in any conversation that you have, anytime you're speaking. The O in the J-O-Y, speaking with J-O-Y, the O has to do with the listener understanding your message. So it has to flow like a speech. You have to have enthusiasm. You have to make eye contact. And you have to make sure your tone and volume match. The Y in speaking with J-O-Y is to dress comfortably. Be you, your style. Don't try to be like everybody else. Be comfortable in your skin and the way you like to dress. Now, here is the next piece, because remember, this is the Joy and Confidence Masterclass. So what does it look like to speak with confidence? I'm glad you asked. The first step in speaking with confidence, you got to know your content. You must know what you are talking about. So don't try to be somebody else. Don't try to capture a whole bunch of quotes from somebody else's speech and then embed it in yours. Don't try to use somebody else's life examples or stories. Trust me, we all have our own. So stick to your content, stick to what you know best. And you will find that you can be more confident. Because by the way, who knows you better than you? Nobody but Jesus. So stick with your content. The other thing, how we speak with confidence, and this is the biggie, guys. I am known in the clubhouse world, well, I used to be known as the queen of filler words. I conducted 2 classes a week for the first year I was on Clubhouse on how to minimize or eliminate the words, sounds, and phrases that add no value to your message. For example, so, know what I'm saying? Anything that you say that's repetitive, that has nothing to do with your content, is a filler word, sound, or phrase. Those are the things we need to minimize. And truth be told, unless you record yourself or unless someone tells you you have repetitive words, sounds, or phrases, most of the time you think you don't. But let me tell you something. 99.875% of all people who have not made a concerted effort to eliminate or minimize filler words, sounds, or phrases, they have a few. Yep, even you. As a matter of fact, I've been doing this for years, and one of my filler words, sounds, or phrases is so. S-O. I have my students count the number of times I say so because I'm constantly trying to improve my speech. I'm constantly trying to perfect my communication skills. And that's one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about helping others. And you'll probably wonder, well, how can I do that? I'm glad you asked that too. It's all a part of speaking with confidence. Here are a few tips that the professionals use. When someone asks you a random impromptu question, most of the time, our first word or sound out of our mouth is or But there's a way to eliminate that. And it's a strategy called extra think time. And here on your screen are 5 ways that you can get extra think time that will help you eliminate those filler words. Let's say you ask me, what is my favorite food? Nicole, what's your favorite food? If I use the first tip here, which is acknowledge or greet, then I would simply say, that's a great question. Thank you for asking me that question. And while I'm saying that, while I'm acknowledging the question, while I'm greeting the person who asked me the question, I'm going through the files in my head. What is my favorite food? I'm going through my files. I'm saying, is it pizza? Is it Japanese? Is it chicken? What is it? That's extra think time step number 1. Extra think time trick number 2 is to repeat the question. Again, let's say you ask me, what is your favorite food? My response would be, what is my favorite food? You see how I slowed down the question? I repeated the question, but I slowed it down. And the reason why I'm slowing down the question is to give me time to think about how I want to respond intelligently without saying, let me think about that. No. This is about speaking with confidence. And when we speak with confidence, we don't use a bunch of filler words, sounds, or phrases. We use words like repeating the question. The third thing is to ask a question. Again, the same question. Nicole, what is your favorite food? I could ask the rhetorical question, who has just one favorite food? Of course, that's a question that I'm asking, but I'm not asking the person who asked me what is my favorite food. It's just a rhetorical question so that I can gather my thoughts. Who has just one favorite food? The fourth thing, and this is the one that I really love, the fourth way to have extra think time is humor. Again, Nicole, what's your favorite food? My favorite food? Why would you ask somebody that's fat what their favorite food is? Can't you see that I eat everything? Now, if you're not a naturally humorous person, then that may be a little bit more difficult or a stretch. But as I'm saying that, I'm thinking, what is my favorite food? Is it pizza? Is it steak? Is it Japanese? Is it Italian? So when I finally open my mouth in the actual response, again, I'm not using filler words and I'm speaking with confidence. The final extra think time strategy, the fifth one, is to pause. Simply pause. As opposed to saying, simply pause. But here's the catch. You don't want to pause longer than 5 seconds. Because if you pause longer than 5 seconds, like I just did just there, the listener may think something happened. Especially in the virtual world, they may think that the connection was lost or something's wrong with the Clubhouse or the Facebook. So you want to pause to gather your thoughts, but never pause longer than 5 seconds. Those are the 5 extra think time strategies. And the final thing in speaking with confidence is to simply relax. Guess what? God will never put more on you than you can bear. And I know we use that often. But the fact of the matter is, you got this, especially now that you got these tips and tricks. But wherever God leads you, He's going to be right there with you. So you can relax. Take a deep breath, go in, and give Him your best self with joy and confidence. So, guys, that's the masterclass. That's the main pieces of the masterclass. But this masterclass will not help you unless you practice these tips and tricks. So I want to encourage you to consider joining our Joy and Confidence League. Our Joy and Confidence League is every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Every Wednesday at 7 p.m. And I put the link out there in Facebook and YouTube. And is actually also scrolling down at the bottom of your screen. And all you have to do is go out there on their website, go to the Joy and Confidence League course, and join us every Wednesday, where you will have an opportunity to put all of these tips and tricks we just talked about. You will have an opportunity to put them in action. Now, I have several members who was a part of the league in 2022 who are coming back again in 2023. But I implore you guys, if you have a desire to speak with joy and to speak with confidence, then join the league. It's a group of elite people, professionals mostly, entrepreneurs, speakers, ministers, who want to perfect their communication skills verbally. Also, I want to encourage you guys to join us for our Joy Conference 2023. If you have not already registered, again, click that same link and join us. Guys, we are down to 4 weeks before we have to turn in the final head count to the venue. So I encourage you to register today. And keep in the back of your mind, guys, we have the summer boot camp coming up this summer, the Joy Extreme Boot Camp. And then also every Monday through Friday at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, every Monday through Friday at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we are here live on Clubhouse, Facebook, and YouTube with Morning Joy. All right, y'all. I will see you on Wednesday. Love you guys. And the rooms will be ending in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Mwah.